we're getting into rotating 180 degrees. And rotating 180 degrees is a little bit different. Rotating 180 degrees, it doesn't matter which way I'm going. Because no matter what, does not matter which direction. No matter what, my terms are just taking the negative of the x and the negative of the y, whichever direction we go. Because if I did 90 degrees clockwise twice, I would get xy became negative x, negative y. And again, with 90 degrees counterclockwise, okay? So don't worry about which direction it says. A lot of the times it's actually going to say rotate 180 degrees about the origin. Do not worry about those words. It just means we're turning it around 0, 0, because as you go further than pre-algebra, you will be rotating around different points. Okay? So when you see a practice problem, it's going to be 180 degrees about the origin. All right? So my a prime, just taking the negative of my x, the negative of my y. Negative of negative 8, negative of 0. Well, the negative of a negative is a positive, and the negative of 0 is just 0. Okay, so a prime is 8, 0. B prime, 3, negative, negative 7. So b prime is negative 3, positive 7. And lastly, c prime, negative of negative 3, negative 5 becomes c prime 3, negative 5. Okay? And now we're going to do an example on the graph. All right, hopefully this isn't too terrible or too confusing. Okay? Notice how this says 180 degrees about the origin. We're ignoring the origin part and we're just going with our rule. So xy becomes negative x, negative y. I'm going to be taking it from quadrant 4 to quadrant 2. Whichever direction I decided I was going, it's going to end up somewhere over there. Okay? So my original point, J, is negative 1, negative 2. V is 4, negative 1. And K is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, negative 4. Okay? Now, my J prime is negative of negative 1, negative of negative 2, or J prime is 1, 2. Okay? V prime is negative of 4, negative of negative 1, or V prime is negative 4, positive 1. And K prime is negative 2, negative of negative 4, or K prime is negative 2, positive 4. Okay, now I'm just going to plot these points, and it should show the same image, just turned. So, 1, positive 2. Ooh, I don't like how I wrote that. J prime. Negative 4, positive 1. V prime, and 2, negative 2, positive 4 is K prime. Okay. And it looks like I just took it and turned it all the way around. All right. Now, I have, I believe, yep, I have one more example. Going 180 degrees about the origin. I'm still xy becomes negative x, negative y. W is negative 4, positive 2. G is negative 4, 0, and E is 0, 3. Okay. So W prime, negative of negative 4, positive 4, negative 2. G prime, negative of negative 4 is 4, negative of 0 is 0. And E prime, negative of 0 is 0, negative of positive 3 is negative 3. Okay? Again, I'm taking it to this quadrant. Okay? So, for negative 2, W prime. For 0, G prime. And 0, negative 3, E prime. It looks like I just took my figure and I turned it all the way around in either direction. Okay? Now, the last 2 slides today are just some extra practice with the rules. Okay? So, in number 1, we're rotating 90 degrees clockwise. Counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. So, my rule for counterclockwise is x, y becomes, I don't remember. Let's go all the way back to the top. Counterclockwise is negative y, x. Becomes negative y, x. Okay? So, my x prime, negative of 4 is negative 4, x stays the same. Y prime, negative of 8 is negative 8, y stays the same. Z prime, negative of positive 4 is negative 4, x stays the same. Okay? Not too bad, right? Don't overthink these. Just check your rules if you need to. Going 180 degrees, xy becomes negative x, negative y. So, A prime, negative of negative 1 is positive 1, negative of negative 4 is positive 4. B prime, negative of negative 1 is positive 1, negative of 0 is just 0. And lastly, C prime, negative of 3, negative 3, negative of negative 2, positive 2. Okay? And in the last example here, I'm going clockwise. Clockwise, my rule, I'm taking the other negative. So, xy becomes y, negative x. Okay? So, x prime, y stays the same, negative 6. Negative of x, negative of 4 is negative 4. Y prime, okay, 2, negative of 4 is negative 4. And z prime, 7, negative of negative 1 is positive 1. Okay? So those are those examples. That's practice with the rules. Always write your rule in each problem. No matter what quiz or test you take, Jermaine, you're going to be able to use a rule sheet, which I will upload for you after I go through dilations on Monday, okay? All right. Now, we're back to practicing all different types. So, translating 2 units to the right, 2 units right. Right means that I'm adding to my x values. So xy becomes x plus 2 and 5 units down. Going down means I'm subtracting my y values. Y minus 5. Okay? So my A prime from these points up here, that's what we're using on this. Okay? A prime. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Okay? B prime. 8 plus 2 is 10. Negative 2 minus 5, negative 2 plus negative 5 is negative 7. And lastly, C prime. Negative 4 plus 2 becomes negative 2. Negative 5 minus 5, negative 10. I'm sorry for all of this stuff. Okay, all of the beeping I apologize for. All right, now reflecting over the x-axis. We're reflecting. Reflecting over the x-axis. My rule for reflection is xy becomes x negative y. That's all. I'm just taking the negative of my y. So A prime is x stays the same. Negative of positive 4 is negative 4. B prime, x stays the same. Negative of negative 2 becomes positive 2. And C prime, x stays the same. Negative of negative 5 is positive 5. All right? Nice and easy. Don't overthink this stuff. All right? And lastly, I have rotating 90 degrees. Wrong pen. 90 degrees clockwise. We just did this today. 90 degrees clockwise. XY becomes y negative x. Oh my god. I'm so sorry about all the beeping. I'm turning the sound off now. So, A prime is going to be y stays the same. 4, negative of negative 3 is positive 3. B prime, y stays the same. Negative of positive 8 is negative 8. And lastly, C prime, y stays the same. Negative of negative 4 is positive 4. Okay? Hopefully these helped you to understand the different types of transformations better. If you have any questions, make sure you post them on the Google Classroom and complete your practice problems that will be due on Monday. Okay? If you have any questions,